Welcome back. You ready to learn something new? Let's go back in time, look at some local history.
It's always been busy around here. Pikes Peak and the surrounding area has been a real popular spot for a long time. Once they found gold up in those hills, things started to change in a big hurry. Of course, there was silver, lots of coal, and other rare minerals, which meant they were going to need some wood. Lots of wood.
Timber's a big deal around here, or it used to be. This tree was growing on the Ute Trail
In the center of what is now Cascade, Colorado.
This is the main trunk. Can you see that? It's split off into two.
This ponderosa pine tree was growing at a fork in the Ute Trail, where it went up Pikes Peak, or Tava, as the Utes called it.
Look at these big old rings here. $175 years old, maybe a little more. 175 years ago. This tree right here is over 175 years old.
It dates back to the mid-1840s, before Colorado was even a state.
You want to know what was going on around here 175 years ago? Let's go find out.
The year was 1847. Our little ponderosa pine was just a sapling at the crossroads of a busy mountain trail. For centuries, the mountain Utes thrived in what we now call the Pikes Peak Region here in Colorado. The Utes were hunters and gatherers. They believed in the god Sinawov, who created the land, animals, plants, food, and the people of the Utes themselves. The Ute Trail was their main thoroughfare up into the Great Rocky Mountains, where they hunted and fished during the hot, dry summer, taking only what they needed. Real quick, things started to change. In the 1860s, the Ute Trail became a wagon road connecting Colorado City to the mining camps of Leadville and beyond. Nothing about life up in those mountains back then was easy. And the whole time, they were moving logs and cutting lumber.
It ain't going down without a fight.
Starting in 1888, the Colorado Midland Railway ran tracks through Ute Pass into the mines at Leadville, Aspen, and later Cripple Creek. Times were changing fast, and the people just kept on coming.
A big bolt. Looks like there's copper. There's an old light pole.
A lot of folks don't know it, but the Pikes Peak region had some of the first hydroelectric plants in the nation. They started using wooden pipes to move the water around. So you guessed it, they needed more wood. The little town of Cascade, Colorado has been drawing tourists since 1888, when the large Romana Hotel was built within eyeshot of our Ponderosa pine tree and just down the road from the summit of Pikes Peak. They're cutting down more trees than ever, moving more logs, and pushing that little train a little harder than they probably should. Okay, I flipped this thing over. We're gonna take this off, make a couple of table bases or bench bases out of that big piece right there. We'll leave those in. We'll cut it off right here. Look at this. Look at that beautiful pine. I wish you could smell this. Cold, wet Ponderosa pine. Look at that. It's a beautiful old tree. Sure seems like time really sped up when they started putting petrol in cars. So did those cars they were running up there on Pikes Peak. The Pikes Peak International Hill Climb is a race to the summit of Pikes Peak, one of the oldest races in the United States. The starting line is just around the corner from where our tree grew. By the mid-1940s, our little pine tree was 100 years old, growing just as fast as Colorado Springs. It was 100 years old in 1942 when Fort Carson started as Camp Carson just months after the U.S. entered World War II. Making good wood takes a lot more work than most people think. It always amazes me to think about the old timers and how they did it. Some heavy wood. That stuff is green. By the mid-1950s, Colorado Springs was experiencing more growth. The United States Air Force moved to town with the construction of the Air Force Academy and the North American Aerospace Command at Cheyenne Mountain. It was about the same time Cascade, Colorado saw the development of one of the first theme parks in the United States. If you ever visited the North Pole, Colorado Santa's Workshop, you passed right by our old Ponderosa pine tree. For the next 50 or so years, Colorado Springs and the Pikes Peak region continue to grow. Little towns all across the Ute Pass like Manitou Springs, Woodland Park, and Divide all experienced explosive growth and development. With growth comes risk. In the summer of 2012, a small wildfire started burning within a mile or so of our big old Ponderosa. Within days, the Waldo Canyon fire exploded in size, devastating everything within its reach, while threatening much of the area. The fire burned for over 2 weeks, killing 2 people and wiping out more than 345 homes on the west side of Colorado Springs and up Ute Pass. It came within just a quarter of a mile of taking out our tree.
So that alone should tell a story. So here's an example of how we set the pitch. This is how you know you've set the pitch. It's crystallized. Some beautiful wood. This is the most beautiful pine I've ever cut. These slabs are beautiful.
It represents some of the best we have here in Colorado.
So thanks for watching, guys. Come back next time and we'll see what else we can find.
This video has been brought to you by Colorado Rockin' Logs, Colorado Springs Sawmill at Penrose, and LogFurnitureHowTo.com. If you like what you see, click subscribe. Leave me any comments in the section below. And be sure and watch the other videos that I have links to if you want to learn more about the Pikes Peak region. Thanks for watching. Have a great weekend.
There's a story to be told.